The New Jersey Devils finished with 81 points last year. Now, to give you just to give you a sense.
Oh, was that not it? Okay.
Well, I am going that direction. Give you a sense of how outrageous that is and how that's never happening again, at least not in this era. They're over under. I'm going to give it to you right now. Can you guess?
People are really high on them.
According to BetMGM.
And the books tend to go by that. I'm going to go way higher, 97.5.
Yeah. That's pretty high, right?
No, it's going to be like 110.5.
Well, it's actually in the middle, 101.5.
Man, oh man, oh man.
Big swing, though, for the betting markets. Big swing, and it shows you how much went wrong for this team. Dougie Hamilton, shitty goaltending, Jack Hughes down. Like this, and a completely, and a Lindy Ruff that, maybe they had a point with Fire Lindy. And eventually it happened just a season later.
The thing I'll never forgive Devils fans for is they did the sorry Lindy, and then when they wanted him fired again, they should have gone, we were right.
Yeah.
We were, or never mind.
They should have. Now, this is a great team with a coach who we're quite familiar with and who is known for having high-flying hockey. Let's talk about Sheldon Keefe first and his effect on this roster.
Oh, man. I've been talking about this since the moment the Devils hired him. Listen, it was his time to go with the Leafs. I don't think it's that he didn't get it. I think it's that his message was falling flat and the Leafs simply wouldn't do what he was telling them to do. He wanted them to score playoff-style goals and drive the net. They simply wouldn't do it, and now he gets to coach Andre Palat. Like, what a luxury.
I love Palat.
And isn't it crazy that that's the first name I went to, right? Andre Palat? Yeah, but who's been the list of guys who have been better in terms of what I just described in the playoffs over Palat's career is very short. It's very short. Then you add to that Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, oh my God, Timo Meier. Like, he gets to coach Timo Meier. Like, the style that Keefe coaches, whether you think it is a good style or not, or whether you think it works in the playoffs or not, it's like he was handcrafted to coach the Devils. I think he's a really good pickup for them, and they're going to score 500,000 goals.
Jesse, what are your thoughts?
Sorry, I just took a sip of water.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
That's more of a gulp.
With Sheldon Keefe?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's what Sheldon Keefe has done in his tenure as head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs is be a very successful regular season head coach. And the Devils team from last year isn't at all the team from this year.
Not at all.
It's a completely different. They didn't have a single 30-goal scorer on their team,
which is outrageous.
Well, and how about their decor? So the decor to me is the craziest part. So you got, I mean, this is according to Daily Faceoff from a few days ago when I wrote my notes, but Jonas Siegenthaler. All right. He was on the Devils last year. Then you got Dougie Hamilton. Oh, well, okay, he was on the Devils for a second, then he got hurt. So he wasn't really on the Devils last year. Brendan Dillon. Well, there's a new guy. Okay. Brett Pesce. Well, there's a new guy. Okay. Kovacevic, who they just got. Okay, well, he's a new guy. Okay.
From the Habs.
And Simon Nemec. Well, he played like a handful of games last year. So he was sort of on the Devils a little bit.
Kovacevic did play 62 games last year for the Devils.
It was for I thought they acquired him this offseason.
I thought they did too.
No, I'm looking at the stats from last year, 62 games.
And I got the wrong player. But yes, anyway. No, Montreal Canadiens last year, Kovacevic, 62 games.
Oh, so they added him to the stat.
Yeah, my God. I was like,
I was like, am I going crazy?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, sometimes we go, they really rebuilt the, but no, this is unrecognizable from the one they iced last year.
Yeah.
So, with a new coach, like there might be an adjustment period. They might not come out of the gate so good. But I really believe, that's as good a decor as Keefe has ever had in his NHL tenure. Even with Matthews and Marner and Nylander, like that's as good a forward group as Keefe has ever had. And how about maybe we're burying the lead? They couldn't stop a beach ball, and then they got Jake Allen, and he looked like George Vezina himself compared to what the Devils had, and now he's their backup because they got Jake Markstrom. Dude, this team's stacked.
They almost got both Allen and Markstrom at the deadline last year.
Yeah, it's as crazy a single season rebuild as we have seen a team pull off in a decade. It's really, really good.
Jesse, what do you think being able to stop a puck this year does for the Devils?
Yeah, I think that's been kind of their Achilles heel the last couple seasons, when they had to go to Kira Schmidt in the playoffs there and they beat the Rangers, but in the second round it kind of turns into a pumpkin and they lose there. So last year they couldn't figure it out. That's the key to this whole thing is you bring in a number one starter, and that's what you've been asking for. And even at the end there, where it was Jake Allen playing decent hockey for them, like they looked better.
Crazy hockey.
It was just getting some goaltending. So that's why I think they're going to be a very good team. And like when you're asking me about the over-unders, I got them at 110 because the Edmonton Oilers right now are the favorites to win the President's Trophy, and their over-unders 108. And I think the Devils are going to win the President's Trophy this year.
Wow.
I think they're easily the team that seems like they have all of the complete parts to make a good run at a good long regular season title, and like I mentioned, Sheldon Keefe is very good at keeping a team motivated throughout the regular season. Yep. And I think they're going to be right there up there with the top of the league standings.
One of the guys that I think is due for a comeback year, and it's hilarious that I say comeback year because he still had 52 points in 69 games, is Timo Meier. He could not score under Lindy Ruff, but as soon as Travis Green took over, he took off. And imagine a full season, full health, and full Jack Hughes.
This, again, go to the net. Go to the net, drive the net, score playoff-style goals. The Leafs would not do it. That's Timo Meier. That's what he does. And it seems like the easiest thing in the world. Put Timo in front of the net, let him wreck shop. How are we going to get him the puck? Oh, I don't know. Dougie Hamilton, Jack Hughes, Luke Hughes when he's healthy, Nemec, and friggin' like you go through the list. It's a diabolical team. Like I'll just be frank.
Dawson Mercer just signed a contract too for a reasonable cap hit, about $4 million. Jesse, what do you expect out of a guy like that?
You expect him to take a step. Every year it seems like on the back end they get a new young name that we get excited about, right?
Yes.
And Dawson Mercer is just the next one in that long line, and he's going to get better with each season. And he's developed into like a nice little goal scorer.
Yeah.
20 goals last year, so you expect him to improve on that.
Yeah, Luke Hughes obviously is going to be missing at camp right now because he's injured. But him coming back and being a part of this too is also. It's like you mentioned. We did that whole thing on the defense. It's like I was like, we're missing someone. Oh yeah, Luke.
Oh
Hughes.
yeah, Luke Hughes. Well, and just expanding on Jesse's point, the Devils actually have a player this October that they didn't have last October, and that's Dawson Mercer. He played every game. I only know this because I had him in fantasy. Game 1, nothing. Game 2, nothing. Game 3, nothing. Game 4, nothing. Game 5, nothing. Game 6, nothing. Game 7, nothing. Game 8, nothing. Game 9, nothing. Game 10, nothing. Game 11, first goal of the season. And then he actually had 3 goals in his next 4 games. But we're talking the first month of the season. And this is when like Jack Hughes was going off and then he got hurt. They on top of having those injuries, they needed players to step up last year, and then nobody did. So what was Mercer's point total last year?
He ended up with 33 points.
In how many games?
82.
So really, it's 33 in 72 because he was that bad the first 10 games. He couldn't score.
And if you look at the 23 season where he exploded onto the scene, which is second full season in the NHL, it was 27 goals, 29 assists, 56 points. So like you see a big drop off from year 20 season to 21. You shouldn't expect that. You should expect those point totals to go up a whole bunch. And I think a large start of that slow start to the season last year is because he's 21, and this year now he's 22. And Lindy, and the team wasn't cooking, and there wasn't anything there for the Devils. So you expect him to be back up to where he was in 22, 23. There's an extra 10 goals out of a center in your lineup.
If you don't know who to pick in fantasy, just pick a Devil.
Yeah, but good point.
What, forward?
Just by virtue of the fact that they'll be a part of a really, really good team.
Forward, defender, goaltender, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get them.
So as I told you, the New Jersey Devils, they finished 7th in a division last year, I believe close to last in the conference. And of course, it got them a nice little first-round draft pick, but 101.5 is the over-under. Jesse, Steve, are you going over, and where do you have them in the division?
I'm going over, which is going to make my next thing make no sense. Third. The reason I have them third is they didn't even make the playoffs last year. and I'm trying to learn my lesson. It's nothing against the Devils. It's a team won't make the playoffs. They'll add a few guys, and we go, now they're going to take off. And it's really difficult to make up. Like, what are they making up? 30 points in the standings?
That's what the suggestion. Well, 20, 30 points, yeah.
That's a lot. It's just a lot. So I think they're crazy. Jesse with the President's Trophy thing, he's probably not even wrong. Well, I'm going to say third because I've been smacked around too many times.
Jesse, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the Devils win the division. Steve, the jump thing, I think I mentioned this in the Blackhawks preview. They went from 63 points to 112.
Yeah.
This is a team that's prone to giant swings in point totals because of the young talent they have that just seems to surprise everybody. So I'm going to go first place in the division, President's Trophy, and over on the point total.
I'm going to go. Sorry.
Well, and it's what the Leafs deserve.
I'm going to call over on this as well. I think they're second in the division. The one thing for me, and I know that the regular season doesn't matter as much to the Rangers as it might to the Devils because the Devils really need to get themselves back in. Until you have unseated the King, I can't take the King out of the King spot. Does that make sense?
They won it with the Rangers. They won it last year. They know it means nothing.
Yes.
Is how I look at it. So somebody else is going to take that because they're determined to do it.
Yes, agreed. And you know what? I think that's a good pick. I'm still putting them second. And I think the can't miss hockey this year is going to be Devils Rangers. That is going to be spectacular regular season hockey. That is your New Jersey Devils season preview.